My beloved child, listen gently to what I am whispering deep within your soul at this very moment. There are things in this world that do not arrive like violent storms, nor come with a noise loud enough for you to recognize them immediately. They descend quietly like mist settling over a field in the middle of the night, so softly that you think you are still at peace. Yet, little by little, they begin to dim the eyes of your spirit. There are small habits, seemingly harmless thoughts, and hidden weariness you keep buried within your heart that are slowly drawing you away from the river of life I have always longed to pour into you. But beloved, do not be afraid when you hear these words. I do not speak to condemn you. I speak because I love you too deeply to remain silent while watching you walk into cold and shadowed places without the guidance of light. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path, as it is written in the Psalms. And that light has never gone out over your life. Even in moments when you believed you were wandering through roads without direction, even when your soul feels troubled and confused, I am still standing very near to you. Perhaps you cannot see me with your physical eyes, yet your spirit has often felt my hand quietly holding you back from invisible abysses. There have been days when you were about to follow something that left your heart uneasy, and suddenly a gentle hesitation arose within you. That was not coincidence. It was the whisper of my Holy Spirit protecting you from what would later wound your heart. I have placed within you a precious ability to discern what brings life and what silently drains away your peace. But you must learn to listen to the quietness. The world is far too noisy, while my voice often comes like a gentle breeze after the earthquake, like a small flame in the middle of the night. If your heart is constantly running after haste and distraction, it will be difficult for you to recognize that I am calling your name. So learn to pause beside me in the smallest moments. You do not need perfect prayers, nor do you need to appear stronger than you truly are. I simply desire for you to open your heart with sincerity and simplicity. A word of gratitude when the morning first awakens, a moment of silence before you fall asleep, a compassionate glance toward someone who is hurting. These small things are like drops of oil keeping the lamp within your soul from going out. You often think I am present only in grand and extraordinary moments. But in truth, I delight in entering your life through the gentlest things. In the moment you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, in the instant you choose gentleness rather than anger, heaven has already touched your heart. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Those words do not speak only of eternity to come, but also of spiritual eyes being opened in the midst of this life. I want to tell you about Elijah, who once believed he was so alone that he wished to give up everything. After long days of struggle and exhaustion, he sat beneath the broom tree and asked to die because he no longer had the strength to continue. Yet I did not condemn him for his weakness. I sent an angel to bring him bread and water in the wilderness. Then when Elijah stood upon Mount Horeb, he waited for me in the mighty wind, in the earthquake, and in the great fire. But I was not in those loud and overwhelming things. At last, I came in a still, gentle whisper, and in that very moment his soul recognized me. Beloved, there are times when you too are searching for me in great and dramatic events, while I am standing very near to you through a small peace, through a gentle intuition, through the quiet lightness within your heart when you choose what is good and righteous. Do not underestimate those subtle things, for many times they have rescued your soul from paths that would have led you away from the light. My beloved child, listen gently to what I am whispering deep within your soul at this very moment. There are things in this world that do not arrive like violent storms, nor come with a noise loud enough for you to recognize them immediately. They descend quietly like mist, settling over a field in the middle of the night, so softly that you think you are still at peace. Yet little by little they begin to dim the eyes of your spirit. There are small habits, seemingly harmless thoughts, and hidden weariness you keep buried within your heart that are slowly drawing you away from the river of life. I have always longed to pour into you. But beloved, do not be afraid when you hear these words. I do not speak to condemn you. I speak because I love you too deeply to remain silent while watching you walk into cold and shadowed places without the guidance of light. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path, as it is written in the Psalms, and that light has never gone out over your life. Even in moments when you believed you were wandering through roads without direction, even when your soul feels troubled and confused, I am still standing very near to you. Perhaps you cannot see me with your physical eyes, yet your spirit has often felt my hand, quietly holding you back from invisible abysses. There have been days when you were about to follow something that left your heart uneasy, and suddenly a gentle hesitation arose within you. That was not coincidence. It was the whisper of my Holy Spirit protecting you from what would later wound your heart. I have placed within you a precious ability to discern what brings life and what silently drains away your peace. But you must learn to listen to the quietness. The world is far too noisy, while my voice often comes like a gentle breeze after the earthquake, like a small flame in the middle of the night. If your heart is constantly running after haste and distraction, it will be difficult for you to recognize that I am calling your name. So learn to pause beside me in the smallest moments. You do not need perfect prayers, nor do you need to appear stronger than you truly are. I simply desire for you to open your heart with sincerity and simplicity. A word of gratitude when the morning first awakens, a moment of silence before you fall asleep, a compassionate glance toward someone who is hurting. These small things are like drops of oil, keeping the lamp within your soul from going out. You often think I am present only in grand and extraordinary moments, but in truth, I delight in entering your life through the gentlest things. In the moment you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, in the instant you choose gentleness rather than anger, heaven has already touched your heart. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Those words do not speak only of eternity to come, but also of spiritual eyes being opened in the midst of this life. I want to tell you about Elijah, who once believed he was so alone that he wished to give up everything. After long days of struggle and exhaustion, he sat beneath the broom tree and asked to die because he no longer had the strength to continue. Yet I did not condemn him for his weakness. I sent an angel to bring him bread and water in the wilderness. Then, when Elijah stood upon Mount Horeb, he waited for me in the mighty wind, in the earthquake, and in the great fire. But I was not in those loud and overwhelming things. At last, I came in a still, gentle whisper, and in that very moment, his soul recognized me. Beloved, there are times when you too are searching for me in great and dramatic events, while I am standing very near to you through a small peace, through a gentle intuition, through the quiet lightness within your heart when you choose what is good and righteous. Do not underestimate those subtle things, for many times they have rescued your soul from paths that would have led you away from the light. Then there will come a time when you realize that what strengthens a spiritual life is not fleeting moments of burning emotion that quickly fade away, but quiet faithfulness practiced day after day. Just as a small stream flowing continuously through the years can smooth even the hardest stone, the holy habits you patiently cultivate will gradually transform the very depths of who you are. I am teaching you to slow down so your heart will not be carried away by things that pass so quickly. There are many things the world calls success that leave the soul dry and exhausted. I do not want you to trade your peace for things that shine brightly for only a moment and then leave behind an empty and cold space within you. What I desire for you is not merely to survive the passing of days, but to live a life filled with light, where your soul rests securely within my unchanging love. My beloved child, do not think that you must become perfect before coming near to me. If you wait until you are no longer weak, before seeking me. You will remain standing outside the door of grace forever. I know every hidden battle within your heart. I see the nights when you are weary, yet still force yourself to smile. I see the moments when you feel alone, even while surrounded by many people. Yet, it is precisely within those fragile places that my healing power begins to flow. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Those words have never lost their life and power. I do not love you because you are strong. I love you because you are my child. So today, allow your heart to become tender before my presence. Do not let fear cause you to close yourself off. Do not let old disappointments convince you that light is no longer meant for you. When you return to me, even through the faintest sigh of exhaustion, heaven itself leans close to listen. Little by little, I will restore the places within you that have become dry and barren. I will replace anxiety with peace, chaos with steadiness, and long nights of darkness with new hope breaking forth like the dawn after endless rain. Remember that you are not walking alone. My hand is still holding you. My light is still covering you, and my love for you has never diminished, not even for the smallest moment throughout the journey of your life. My beloved child, when you begin learning how to listen to the quietness, you will discover that I have always been speaking to you through the gentlest things. I do not always use great upheavals to draw you back to me. Many times, I simply place within your heart a subtle feeling, a fragile hesitation, a gentle unrest, when you are about to step into something no longer aligned with the light I have planted within you. That is how I protect your soul from paths that slowly drain the life from your heart, even in ways you may not immediately recognize. The world often makes you believe that danger exists only in things that are dramatic and obvious. Yet many things that weary the soul arrive clothed in ordinary appearances. They slip quietly into small choices, into delays you allow yourself to keep, into habits that slowly weaken your desire to seek me. And little by little, the light within you does not disappear, but becomes dimmed like a lamp hidden beneath layers of dust gathered through many years. I do not say these things so you will live in fear or self-condemnation. I want you to walk with gentle awareness, like someone caring for a precious garden. A gardener does not wait until the plants have withered before tending them. They watch every small leaf and every delicate sign in order to keep the garden alive and flourishing. Your soul is the same. There are things that seem harmless, yet quietly steal away the peace I have placed within you. A small bitterness left unforgiven, a constant busyness that causes you to forget stillness with me, a habit that fills your mind with endless noise. None of these things come to destroy you all at once. They simply slow your ability to sense my presence. But beloved, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. As it is written in Proverbs, I remind you to protect your heart not because I am distant, but because I know how precious your soul truly is. There is a story in Scripture that many people often overlook, yet I want you to remember it today. It is the story of Samson. His strength did not disappear in a single moment. He did not fall because of one great battle alone. Everything began with small compromises that he believed he could still control. Every step away from my guidance seemed insignificant at first, until one day he realized that the strength within him was no longer what it had once been. My beloved child, many souls do not drift away from the light because of one major decision made in a single day. They drift little by little through small misdirections repeated over time. But what is beautiful is that even when Samson failed, I did not abandon him. When he turned his heart back toward me, I still heard his cry. The same is true for you. There is no distance too great for my love to draw you back again. So do not underestimate the small things I am inviting you to practice each day. A simple word of gratitude when you awaken can change the atmosphere of your entire soul. A single quiet moment before me can bring clarity that hours of anxiety could never give you. One hidden act of kindness can keep your heart soft within a cold and weary world. You often think you need dramatic steps to transform your spiritual life. But truly, I tell you, many miracles begin with very simple things. Just as a small stream persistently flowing through stone slowly carves out a riverbed, the holy choices you repeat day after day will make room for my light to spread throughout your life. Learn to watch over your soul the way you watch the sky before the rain arrives. There are subtle signs that reveal an inner weariness when you no longer feel peace in the things that once brought life to your spirit, when your heart becomes more easily irritated, when silence makes you uncomfortable instead of giving you rest. Do not ignore those signals. I do not condemn you for becoming tired. I simply want you to return before your soul grows too heavy. Be still and know that I am God, not in haste, not in endless noise, but in stillness. You will begin to recognize that I am healing the deepest places within your heart. My beloved child, I know there are times when you think the small things you do make no difference at all, but I see everything. I see when you try to remain gentle even while your heart feels weary. I see when you stop yourself from speaking words that would wound another person. I see when you choose forgiveness instead of holding on to bitterness. To the world, these things may appear ordinary, but to heaven, they are like seeds of light growing within your soul. Do not despise the process. A great tree does not rise overnight. It grows slowly through roots hidden deep beneath the earth. Your faith and spiritual growth are unfolding in the same way. So today, I invite you to slow down a little more. Do not let your days pass by like an unconscious current carrying you away. Let every small moment become a place where you meet me. When you drink a sip of water, remember that I am the living water. When you look upon the sunrise, remember that my mercies are new every morning. When you feel weary, rest your head upon me instead of trying to remain strong all by yourself. I do not expect you to become perfect in a single day. I simply desire that your heart remains open to me, little by little, growing deeper with each passing day. And then you will realize that through the smallest things, my light has quietly transformed your entire life before you even noticed it. My beloved child, let your heart grow still a little longer, because there are things I can place within you only when your inner world becomes quiet enough to receive them. The world often convinces you that whatever is powerful must also be loud, that true presence always arrives with dramatic shaking and thunder. But I do not always choose to come to you in that way. Sometimes I enter your soul as gently as the first light of morning slipping through a window, so softly that if your heart is too busy, you may never realize that I have been there all along. I cherish the moments when you pause in the middle of life's rushing rhythm, simply to breathe deeply and remember that you are not alone. It is within that quietness that I gently place peace into your heart, like a father covering his sleeping child with a soft blanket in the middle of the night. Remember Elijah as he stood upon Mount Horeb. He waited for me in the wind that tore through the mountains, in the earthquake, and in the great fire. Yet I was not within those terrifying displays. Then, after all of it, a still and gentle whisper came, and Elijah's soul immediately recognized me. Do you see? My beloved, I do not need to shout in order to prove that I am present. True love does not need to display itself loudly. My guidance often comes as a pure and quiet feeling blooming within your heart when you are about to choose what is right, or as a gentle uneasiness when you are stepping toward a place no longer aligned with the light I have placed within you. Be still and know that I am God. For only when you stop running so quickly will you begin to hear what I have always been whispering deep within your soul. I want you to stop fearing stillness. There are times when you fill every empty space with noise, with work, with endless thoughts, simply because you do not wish to face the fragile places within yourself. But beloved, silence is not a place where darkness comes to swallow you. If you open your heart to me, it will become a garden where I heal the most exhausted parts of your soul. In the brief pause between the demands of a busy day, you can simply close your eyes and say, Lord, I am here. Even that alone is enough for heaven to lean close and touch your heart. Do not underestimate those small encounters. They are the very things that keep your soul from being swept away by the chaos of the world. My beloved child, I also want you to understand something very deep. Your life is formed by the small things repeated each day. People often believe that only major decisions can change a destiny. But in truth, the direction of a soul is shaped by the small choices, quietly repeated over time. One day, you delay prayer, and it may seem insignificant. One moment you withhold kindness because your heart feels tired, and it appears completely ordinary. Yet those small deviations, if continued long enough, slowly pull your heart away from the center of the light without you even noticing. Just as a ship that shifts only slightly off course at the beginning will arrive at an entirely different destination after a long journey, so it is with the soul. That is why I do not look only at the great things within you. I also watch the small habits you nurture every day. Remember Daniel in Babylon. What kept him standing firm was not one sudden heroic moment, but quiet faithfulness repeated day after day. He opened his window toward Jerusalem and prayed consistently, even when doing so could lead him into the lion's den. Those small anchors kept his soul connected to me in the middle of a land filled with temptation and pressure. You also need gentle anchors like these throughout your days. A word of gratitude when you awaken, a blessing of peace spoken to someone before leaving home, a moment of stillness before a meal to remember that every good thing comes from me. To the world, these acts may appear very small, but to heaven, they are like golden threads, stitching your soul ever closer to my heart. Do not condemn yourself on days when you feel weak or out of rhythm. I do not look upon you with disappointment. I look upon you as a father watching his child learn to walk. When you stumble, I do not push you away. I reach out my hand to lift you up again. What I desire is not a person who has never failed, but a heart that still longs to return to the light after every wandering step. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Do you hear that? Beloved, not because they never fell, but because they never stopped returning to me. So, today, I invite you to slow down enough to notice the small miracles quietly nourishing your soul. Let a gentle smile become a prayer. Let gratitude become the rhythm of your breathing. Let every moment you choose love instead of hardness become another step closer to the light. You do not need to accomplish great things in order to remain near to me. A tender and attentive heart is already a dwelling place where I delight to abide. Then one day, you will look back and realize that it was the small things you faithfully held onto that rescued your soul from growing cold. One quiet moment kept you from a reckless decision. One short prayer carried strength into an entire day. One holy habit slowly changed the direction of your life. And through all these things, you will see that I was always there, never distant, never weary, never ceasing to be gentle with you. Not even for the smallest moment, my beloved child, as you walk through the many silent crossroads of life. I do not leave you to wander alone. I know there are moments when your heart desires what is right yet still feels uncertain about which direction to follow. There are times when everything appears reasonable, making it difficult to distinguish true light from the passing glow of temporary emotion. That is why I have prepared gentle anchors for you, so your soul will not become lost in the blurred places of life. I do not place harsh walls before you to make you afraid. Instead, I place small lamps into your hands, enough to illuminate each next step. And if you hold on to them with the softness of a listening heart, you will discover that this journey is no longer frightening, but becomes a path where flowers quietly bloom beneath your feet. The first thing I have given you is my word, not as a burden of laws, but as pure water that helps you clearly see the true face of your soul. There are days when the world makes what is wrong appear right, when darkness clothes itself in a gentle and appealing appearance, but my word is like a lamp quietly standing in the night, not blinding you with force, but patiently revealing what is leading your soul toward life. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. When you place a thought, a decision, or a habit beneath that light, the things that do not belong to true peace will gradually be exposed. At first you may not see clearly, but if you patiently remain within my word, your mind will slowly be cleansed from the confusion the world pours into it day after day. Then I placed my spirit within you like a gentle breath that continually walks beside your soul. There are things that cannot be discerned by reason alone. Sometimes everything may sound logical, yet your heart still feels uneasy. Do not rush to ignore that feeling. Many times, it is my spirit softly pulling your hand away from a path that would later burden your soul. I do not always answer you through great signs and wonders. Often I simply place within your heart a quiet light, a sense of purity, a peace that cannot fully be explained with words. Those who are led by the Spirit of God are the children of God. Beloved, you do not need to force yourself to understand everything. You only need to keep your heart soft and honest before me, and my Spirit will teach you to recognize the voice of life. And I also know there will be stretches of the journey where you will grow weary if you try to walk alone. That is why I have given you a loving community, people I have placed along your path to support you, pray for you, and remind you that you belong to the light. Do not think you must always appear strong. There are moments when your soul simply needs a hand to hold it, a gentle word of encouragement, someone willing to sit quietly beside you and listen to your sighs. It is often through that loving unity that I heal the deepest hidden wounds. Remember Moses when his hands grew tired during the battle. Aaron and Hur stood beside him and lifted his hands until victory came. Do you see? Beloved, even those whom I called still needed companions beside them. You were never created to live this life in loneliness. My beloved child, I know you long for a life that is gentle and filled with meaning. But true peace does not come from escaping hardship or avoiding every trial. Peace comes when you learn to remain within the light, no matter how the circumstances around you may change. When you realize that something is draining the life from your soul, do not merely fight against it through exhaustion and strain. Replace it with something that brings life instead. If your heart becomes cold, plant a small act of love. If your mind is crowded with anxiety, pause and thank me for one simple blessing. If your soul feels weary, lift your eyes to the sky and remember that the one who created the stars is still watching over you each day. These small changes are like opening a window and allowing light to enter a room that has long remained closed. I want to teach you the art of listening to your own heart. Not so you will follow every passing emotion, but so you may recognize the places within yourself that need my light to touch them. There are voices that leave you restless, hurried, anxious, and exhausted. Those are not my voice. My voice brings clarity and peace, even when I invite you into difficult places. When Peter walked upon the water, the storm still raged around him. Yet, as long as his eyes remained fixed on me, he stood firm. It is the same for you. The reason you can remain at peace is not because the sea of life is always calm, but because you know whose hand is holding you in the middle of the storm. Do not fear the quiet paths through which I lead you. There are seasons when I draw you away from the noise, not to take away your joy, but so your soul may be restored. The world teaches you to become addicted to busyness until you begin to believe that silence has no value. Yet it is within stillness that I mend the broken places inside you. It is there that I remind you your worth is not measured by how much you accomplish, but by who you belong to. Come unto me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. I never spoke those words as some distant promise. I desire for you to live within that rest even now, beginning today. So each day, simply choose the light again, not through harsh striving, but through a gentle trust that I am still leading you. A smile when you awaken, a short prayer before beginning your work, a kind look toward yourself when you stand before the mirror. These small things will slowly become great strength within your soul. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that those quiet and gentle steps carried you through dark valleys you once believed you could never cross. Then you will understand this truth. Every path becomes beautiful, not because it is free from hardship, but because in every single step, I have always been walking beside you, gently and never once letting go of your hand. My beloved child, let your heart open once more, because I want to lead you deeper into the beauty of my presence, a beauty many souls search for in grand and extraordinary things, while overlooking it within the ordinary rhythms of daily life. There are those who long to see miracles through thunder and lightning, yet I often choose to arrive through quiet peace, like sunlight slipping gently through a window each morning. When the Ark of the Covenant was brought into the house of Obed-Edom, there was no great noise filling those 3 months. Yet my presence alone transformed that ordinary household into a place overflowing with blessing. Every corner of his life was touched by the life of heaven. Do you see, beloved, the places where I dwell do not need to be magnificent spaces or dramatic moments. I delight in being present within the small room where you sit quietly, at the simple table where you eat, within days that seem ordinary and unremarkable. And when you open your heart to receive me, as Obed-Edom opened the doors of his home, even the simplest things will begin to carry the fragrance of peace. I want you to understand that my presence is not reserved only for solemn hours of prayer. I desire to walk with you through the smallest tasks of your life. I want to be within the gentle way you look at others, within the kindness you show yourself when you are weary, within the quiet gratitude you feel while holding a warm cup of tea in your hands. Many people believe they must travel far in order to find me, yet I am nearer than your very breath. The kingdom of God is within you. Those words have never been distant truths. When you allow me to remain at the center of your life, everything around you slowly begins to change in gentle ways. Ordinary conversations become filled with life. Repeated days no longer feel meaningless. Even silence becomes sweet because you know you are not alone within it. But beloved, I also want you to recognize something very delicate about your soul. The light within you rarely disappears all at once. It fades gradually, the way the sky slowly shifts into evening. At first, you hardly notice it. You continue your familiar routines and move through your days as usual. Yet deep within, a quiet emptiness without warmth has begun to grow. Perhaps you stopped telling me about the small details of your day. Perhaps prayer, which once felt like rest for your soul, becomes something you continually postpone, and then you tell yourself that everything is still fine, while somewhere deep inside, your soul is slowly drying out without understanding why. I do not say this to make you afraid. I simply want you to learn how to recognize the quiet signals your heart is sending you. There are subtle changes that matter more than you realize. When the joy of serving turns into reluctance, when gratitude slowly gives way to comparison, when you become more easily irritated by small things, these are not signs of the end. They are only gentle bells calling you back toward the source of light. Return to me, and I will return to you. I have never closed the door before you. Every time you return, even through the faintest whisper, I still open, my arms wide like a father welcoming home a child after a long journey. Remember Martha and Mary. Martha was busy with many good things, while Mary chose to sit at my feet and listen. Martha was not doing something evil. She had simply become so consumed by busyness that she forgot the one thing her soul needed first. My beloved child, many times what draws you away from me is not obvious sin, but too many reasonable things filling your mind until there is no longer space for me within your day. I do not condemn you for being busy. I simply hope you will not forget to sit with me again. Even 1 minute is enough. A small pause in the middle of your day is enough for me to renew your soul. The emptiness within your heart is not something to fear if you allow me to enter it. What truly exhausts your soul is when you try to fill that emptiness with things that cannot bring real life. Some try to fill it with noise, others with endless busyness, others by chasing the approval of the world. Yet after all of it, they still feel a longing they cannot fully name. Beloved, that empty space was created for me to dwell within. Only my presence can bring true rest to your heart. My soul finds rest in God alone. When you return and sit again at my feet, you will realize that you no longer need to struggle to find peace. Peace was there from the very beginning. You had only wandered for a time away from its source. So do not wait until your soul is exhausted before returning to the light. Learn to gently measure the distance between you and me through the softness of a listening heart. Not so you may condemn yourself, but so you may recognize the places within you that still need healing. I delight more in your honesty than in your attempts to appear strong. If today you feel the light within your heart growing faint, return through very simple things: a quiet word of gratitude, a soft song of worship, a moment spent looking at the sky and remembering that I am still here. Then you will begin to realize something beautiful every time you return to me. The light within you is not merely restored, but grows deeper than before. For it is often in the moments when you thought you had lost your way that you learn how precious my presence truly is. And from that place, you will begin to recognize me everywhere, in the gentle evening light resting upon your porch, in the kindness within the voice of a stranger, in the quiet peace touching your heart during an ordinary day. Then you will understand that heaven is not only a place waiting at the end of the journey. Heaven has already begun blooming within your heart through every moment you choose to remain with me. My beloved child, there will be seasons in your life when your heart feels covered by a thin layer of mist. Not because I have moved away from you, nor because my love for you has changed, but because there are too many voices passing through your mind each day. This world is very skilled at exhausting the soul through endless noise, worries, repeated thoughts, the expectations of others, unnamed fears. All of them blend together like rushing waters, making it difficult for you to recognize the gentle voice that still speaks from my heart. But beloved, do not think that I stopped speaking to you simply because you cannot hear me as clearly as before. The sun does not disappear merely because clouds cover the sky. I am still there, still placing my hand upon your journey, still quietly sending you small signs of my love. Sometimes I speak to you through the compassionate eyes of a stranger on a day when you are exhausted. Sometimes I touch your heart through a verse of scripture appearing at the exact moment you most need comfort. Sometimes I remind you that you are loved through a sudden memory that softens your heart in the middle of days that had begun to feel numb. But if you keep running too quickly, you may allow those small gifts to pass by like birds crossing the sky without realizing that I was within them. That is why I want you to learn how to look back upon your days with eyes that know how to listen. Before the day ends, ask your heart gently, how did the Lord visit my life today? Even that single question is enough to keep the door of your soul open to my presence. My beloved child, there is always a longing within you, reaching toward me. Even when you yourself do not know how to name it, I place that longing within your soul from the very beginning. Just as a seed buried deep beneath the earth still reaches toward the sunlight, your soul continues searching for my light, even when you try to appear strong and self-sufficient. There are nights when you feel empty, though everything around you seems fine. There are moments when you achieve what you once desired. Yet deep inside, there remains an unfilled silence. Do not fear that emptiness. It is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is heaven's invitation within your soul. I remember the woman at the well in Samaria. She searched for satisfaction in many places, hoping something would fill the thirst within her. But only when she encountered me did she understand that what her soul truly needed was not another well from this world, but the living water that never runs dry. It is the same for you. Beloved, what your heart is truly searching for is not merely comfort or success, but a presence that allows your soul to rest. Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again. I am still standing before your heart with that promise. So today, do not try to become perfect before returning to me. Do not believe you must repair every weakness before you are worthy of being embraced by my love. I do not love a perfected version of you. I love you exactly as you are when you are weary, when you are confused, when you do not even know where to begin again. Just come. Come with the most honest version of your heart. Come with your emptiness, your longings, and even the tears you cannot yet name. Leave the rest to me. I will restore the eyes of your spirit so you may see the light again. I will open the ears of your heart so you may recognize my voice among the noise and confusion. And then you will understand that throughout this entire journey, I have never once been silent toward you, my beloved child. There are days when your heart finally begins to grow calm after so much unrest, and you assume that simply no longer hurting must mean you have found peace. But I want you to learn the profound difference between the peace that comes from my presence and the temporary comfort this world so often offers you. There is a kind of stillness that allows the soul to rest within the light. But there is also a kind of quietness that is only a thin mist covering the distance, slowly growing between you and me. True peace does not cause your heart to fall asleep. It awakens your soul. It does not pull you away from the light, but draws you closer to the source of life itself. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds. And that peace does not depend on whether every circumstance around you has become perfect. It comes from knowing that you are resting safely within my hands. Even while winds are still blowing beyond your sight, I know your heart grows weary after long seasons of struggling against anxiety. So I do not come to you with harshness that would only deepen your fear. I choose gentleness. I enter your days like the first morning light slipping softly through the curtains, like a quiet breeze stirring the leaves in the calmness of the afternoon. Many times you think the things you encounter are merely coincidence. Yet I have touched your life through those very ordinary moments. A person unexpectedly checking on you when you were silently close to breaking, a song playing at the exact moment your heart needed comfort, a simple sentence that somehow reached the deepest hidden part of your soul. Beloved, these are the ways I write letters to you with invisible ink that only a listening spirit can read. Remember the prophet Elijah when he hid within the cave in exhaustion and fear. I did not come to him through the mighty wind that tore through the mountains, nor through the earthquake or the great fire. After all the violent sounds had passed, there came only a still and gentle whisper, and it was in that moment Elijah recognized that I was there. Do you see? Beloved, I do not always choose dramatic shaking in order to guide you. Some of the most important things I speak through tenderness instead, because I know your heart does not need more collisions and wounds. What you need is healing. And true healing always begins with the safety of my love. But my beloved child, because my voice often comes so gently, you must keep your soul awake and attentive. If your heart becomes too crowded with noise, you may begin to confuse temporary comfort with true peace. There are things that make you feel comfortable in the moment, while quietly pulling your soul farther away from the light. It is like a boat drifting peacefully across calm waters, while slowly moving farther from the shore. I do not want you to live within that kind of unawareness. That is why I patiently continue sending you small signs, inviting you to pause and look more deeply within your heart. When a choice causes you to lose clarity, lose pure joy, or makes prayer begin to feel distant and unfamiliar, that is the moment you need to return to me and measure once again the direction of your soul. My beloved child, there is something I want you to carry deeply within your heart. I am not present only in the moments you call spiritual. I do not wait until you kneel in silence or until songs of worship begin before drawing near to you. I am with you even in the smallest details of ordinary life. When you quietly fold clothes, still carrying the scent of sunlight, I am there. When you stand beside the stove preparing a simple meal, I am there. When you hurry through crowded streets with a mind full of thoughts, I am still walking beside you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Those words were never meant only for extraordinary moments. They were spoken for every ordinary moment you often think is too small to matter. My beloved child, I delight in entering your life through simple things, because it is there that your heart is most genuine. Sometimes you stand beside a window watching the rain fall, and suddenly your soul grows calm without knowing why. Sometimes while tying your shoes or pausing in the middle of a busy day, you unexpectedly feel a soft peace, gently touching something deep within you. Do not dismiss those moments as coincidence. Many times, it is I placing my hand upon your soul to remind you that you are not walking alone. I do not always speak through things that demand the attention of the entire world. I love to weave my presence into the smallest moments of your day, so that one day, when you look back, you will realize your entire journey has quietly been covered with the footprints of my love all along. My beloved, do not fear silence. There are times when you think quietness means I am distant. Yet often it is the very space I create, so you may hear my voice more clearly. A loving father does not need to speak constantly to prove he is present. Some of the deepest forms of love are communicated through silent companionship. It is the same with me. Within the quiet spaces of your life, I am drawing gentle lines of beauty that only a listening heart can truly see. And within that stillness, you will begin to hear the true rhythm of your soul. And then you will realize that rhythm has always been held within my hands. Be still and know that I am God. Those words are not an invitation to escape life, but an invitation to step more deeply into my presence in the midst of life itself. When you learn to pause for only a few seconds to breathe and remember me, even the most ordinary things begin to carry meaning. A passing breeze can become the soft touch of heaven. A ray of sunlight slipping through the leaves can become a whisper, reminding you that I still see you. An unexpected smile from a stranger can become the way I remind you that kindness still exists in this world. My beloved child, when you begin to understand this gentle language of mine, your life will begin to change. You will no longer feel that you must wait for great miracles before knowing I am near. You will discover that miracles already exist in the fact that your heart can still be moved by light, can still soften before love. You can still hunger for goodness in a world that so easily hardens the soul. And even on days when nothing extraordinary seems to happen, you will continue walking with a deep peace, knowing you are still being guided. I want you to live each day with this awareness. No moment of your life is meaningless when I am present within it. A simple meal can become a table of gratitude. A brief conversation can become a place of healing for someone else. A single moment spent looking toward the sky can lift your soul out of heaviness. I do not ask you to accomplish great things in order to be close to me. I only ask that you keep your heart open within the small things, so I may pour my light into every hidden corner of your life. And then, beloved, there will come a time when you realize that what truly enriches your life is not the number of extraordinary events that happen to you, but the fact that you have begun to see me in all things. Then you will walk more lightly and more peacefully, because you will know that no matter how ordinary your days may seem, you are always surrounded by my gentle presence that has never left you, not even for the smallest moment. My beloved child, never believe that the small things I place along your path are meaningless. I do nothing randomly in your life. Every gentle reminder, every moment that causes your heart to pause, every meeting that appears accidental carries a deeper purpose than you can see at first. Sometimes I send a verse of scripture to you on the very day your soul feels most weary. Sometimes I allow someone you have not seen in a long time to suddenly appear, simply to speak the exact words your heart needs to hear. Sometimes I place a quiet uneasiness within you before a choice that seems perfect on the surface, because I know that behind its beauty lies a road that would slowly dim the light within you. Beloved, these signs are like small lamps I place along your journey, guiding you through dark places so you will not stumble. I do not draw you close through force or fear. I do not use chains to keep you near me. My love has always led you with gentleness. Just as a shepherd walks ahead of his flock, I call you with a voice of peace, so you may willingly follow the light. My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. Do you see? Beloved, true closeness is not built upon pressure, but upon recognition. The more familiar you become with my voice, the more easily you will recognize where safety for your soul truly is. Even when the world dresses many things in beauty, sweetness, and attraction, there are traps that do not come wearing frightening faces. They arrive beautiful, comfortable, and entirely reasonable. They promise ease, instant satisfaction, or the feeling of being quickly fulfilled, but within them, they are empty, like a house without a foundation. My beloved child, I know there are times when you grow weary and simply long for a place where your heart can rest. But do not let exhaustion lead you into things that only soothe your thirst for a moment without truly nourishing your soul. There are joys that make you smile briefly, yet leave behind a greater emptiness afterward. There are promises that sound beautiful, yet quietly pull your heart away from the clarity and peace of my light. That is why I continue sending gentle signs to stop your steps before you wander too far. Remember the prodigal son. He believed leaving his father's house would bring greater freedom and happiness. At first, everything appeared exciting and full of promise, but beneath the glittering surface remained only hunger and loneliness. It was in his deepest moment of emptiness that he remembered his father's house, the place where true peace existed. Beloved, I do not tell you that story so you will fear wrong turns, but so you will know that no matter how far you wander, my voice can still call you home again. And when you return, I do not stand waiting with condemnation. I run to embrace you like the father who had been longing for his child's return all along. So today, learn to trust my gentle guidance. When a quiet prompting causes your heart to pause, do not ignore it. When a verse of scripture suddenly shines within your mind, hold tightly to it. When a soft peace appears, even while circumstances remain unchanged, know that I am very near. These things are not small. Beloved, they are the footprints of heaven passing through your life. And one day, you will look back and realize how many times I rescued you from sweet and beautiful traps you never even recognized. Not because you were exceptionally strong or wise, but because you learned how to listen to the voice that rises from true peace. And as your heart becomes more familiar with my voice, you will walk more steadily through this world filled with temporary promises. because you will know that only my light is real enough to keep your soul alive and truly free forever. My beloved child, I know there are days when you smile quietly to yourself and say that everything is fine, simply to find enough strength to continue through another long day. Others may look at you and see someone strong, someone still fulfilling responsibilities, someone still smiling and speaking as though nothing inside has been shaken. But I see beyond that outward appearance. I see the silent corners of your heart that even you try to avoid. I see the emptiness you attempt to fill with busyness. The nights when you are tired yet still cannot understand why your soul feels unrested. Beloved, I do not condemn you for this. I know this world is very skilled at convincing you that if you just keep running, the thirst within you will eventually disappear. But there are thirsts that cannot be healed by merely enduring longer. There are empty spaces that cannot be filled with more work, more success, or more distractions meant to pull you away from yourself. The world often offers you things that feel pleasant in the moment and calls them peace. They are like sweet water touching your lips at first. Yet the more you drink, the thirstier you become. The promises of the world are much the same. They bring temporary satisfaction but never reach the deepest places of your soul. There are people who possess many things, yet still feel lonely when night falls. There are people constantly surrounded by laughter, while inwardly feeling so empty that they no longer know what they are truly searching for. My beloved child, your soul was created for something greater than merely surviving. I did not create you simply to drift through life, carrying a quiet emptiness within. I created you to live in the fullness of love, peace, and a presence that no longer leaves your heart wandering endlessly in search of something else. But the most dangerous trap rarely arrives wearing a frightening face. It comes gently, familiarly, almost like a friend whispering to you, "It's fine. This is normal. Don't think too much about it." It lulls your soul to sleep through small compromises repeated day after day. It convinces you that you are still fine, even while your prayers become less frequent, even while your spiritual joy is no longer as deep as before, even while your heart slowly loses its sensitivity to the light. At first, it brings a feeling of relief. But beloved, relief is not always healing. There are things that merely numb the pain without healing the root beneath it, like a thin blanket wrapped around someone standing in the cold. It may create the illusion of warmth until the cold quietly seeps deep inside. I do not want you to live in a state of merely surviving without truly being alive, because I know your heart was created to burn far brighter than that. I have come that they may have life, and have it abundantly. Those words are not only about eternity to come, they speak of the life I desire to pour into your soul even now. I do not want you to become so accustomed to dryness that you begin to believe it is normal. I do not want you to accept a life where your heart gradually feels less and less of my presence, simply because the world has taught you how to live without listening to your soul anymore. Remember Martha in the house at Bethany. She was occupied with many reasonable and necessary things until she no longer recognized that the most precious thing was already standing before her. Mary chose differently. She sat at my feet and listened. Martha was not doing something evil, but she allowed busyness to pull her soul away from true peace. Beloved, many times, what exhausts you is not that you are doing too many bad things, but that you are doing too many things that do not truly nourish your soul. Packed schedules, endless meetings, constant responsibilities, all of them may appear completely reasonable. But if they steal away the quiet place where you meet with me, your heart will slowly become dry without even realizing it. The trap of this world does not need to drag you far away in a single day. It only needs to keep you busy enough that you never pause. It teaches you to live only upon the surface of yourself, and little by little, your spiritual sensitivity becomes dull, like a blade left unsharpened for too long. Things that once moved your heart deeply begin to feel ordinary. The whispers that once brought profound peace become lost among the thousands of other voices filling your mind. But beloved, I have never stopped calling your name. I am still placing my hand upon your soul and gently drawing you back to me. Be still before me, not because I want to remove you from life, but because I want to restore to you the very soul you are unintentionally neglecting within this hurried rhythm of the world. I want you to learn again how to discern what truly nourishes you and what merely helps you survive another day. There are things that leave you exhausted, even while they are called success. There are pleasures that make you laugh for a moment, yet leave you emptier afterward. But there are also small things that carry true life within them. One sincere prayer, one word of gratitude, one quiet moment looking toward the sky and remembering that I am still here. My beloved child, I am not calling you to leave the world behind. I am calling you to live within the world without allowing it to direct your soul. You will still work, still love, still walk through the ordinary responsibilities of daily life. But when your hand rests within mine, everything changes. You will no longer live merely chasing the rhythm of life around you. Instead, you will begin living with clarity deep within your spirit. And even in the most ordinary of days, you will feel the river of living water quietly flowing through your soul, renewing you little by little. So today, do not ask yourself only whether you are doing fine. Ask instead, is my soul truly alive? And if you discover there is still a thirst within you that has not yet been filled, do not be afraid of it. That thirst itself is proof that your soul is still searching for me. Come closer, beloved. Let me break through the thin mist of false comforts and lead you back to the place of true peace that never runs dry. For only in me will your heart stop wandering and finally find rest. My beloved child, I know that deep within your heart, you long for a place strong enough to lean upon without fear of collapsing. After seasons of hurt, after days of forcing yourself to remain steady in this ever-shifting world, you have begun to love the feeling of stability, to cling to anything that gives you the sense that life is still under control. But today, I want you to learn the difference between what is truly secure and what merely creates the temporary feeling of safety. There are things that appear strong while the sun is shining, yet a small storm is enough to expose the emptiness hidden beneath them. And there are things that may not seem glamorous or comforting at first, yet they are strong enough to hold you steady through every storm. Whoever hears my words and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house upon the rock. Beloved, I do not want you building your soul upon foundations that will crumble when hardship comes. This world is very skilled at laying soft carpets beneath your feet. It gives you comfort and convinces you that as long as everything outwardly appears fine, then inwardly you must also be fine. It lulls you through familiarity, through repetitive routines, through distractions that keep you from facing the deeper emptiness within your heart. But, beloved, a soft carpet can never replace a strong foundation. There are people who smile brightly while inwardly they are exhausted. There are people who possess much, yet still live in fear of losing everything. There are people who say they are fine simply because they are afraid to touch the truth that their souls have been weary for a very long time. I do not want you to wait until the storms of life arrive before realizing you have been standing upon something unable to hold you. But listen to me carefully. If today you recognize emptiness within yourself, that is not failure. It is grace. Because a person who can still feel emptiness is a person whose soul has not yet become numb. That very hunger is an invitation I have placed within you to draw you back toward the source of true life. I do not come to shame you for your weakness. I do not expose you before others. I come like the gentle light of dawn entering a darkened room, slowly opening your eyes so you may see which places within your heart still need healing. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. The thirst within your soul is not something to hide. It is proof that you were created for something deeper than anything this world can offer. Remember the woman at the well in Samaria. She lived by drawing from wells that never truly satisfied her. She moved from one hope to another, searching for fullness in things that eventually ran dry. But when she encountered me, she realized that what her soul truly needed was not another well from this world, but the living water that flows forever. Beloved, I am calling you in the same way, not to condemn you for searching in the wrong places, but to invite you back to the source that never runs dry. Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again. I want your soul to live within that fullness, no longer surviving on the reserve energy of striving and endurance alone. I know there are days when you feel as though you are living only by momentum. You wake up, work, meet people, smile, speak, yet inside, you feel like a lamp burning through its final drops of oil. You are still able to keep going, but the living fire within you no longer burns the way it once did. Do not fear recognizing this. It is precisely in those moments that I am knocking more deeply upon the door of your heart. I do not wait until you are completely exhausted before seeking you. My love always arrives before collapse does. I see the quiet erosion within you even before you are able to name it yourself. And that is why I continue calling you back, not because I fear losing you from my hand, but because I know how deeply your soul will suffer if it continues living far from the source of light. My beloved child, the door leading home has never once been closed. I do not stand there with disappointment in my eyes, waiting for you to explain why you lost your way. I stand there like the father in the parable of the prodigal son, day after day, looking toward the horizon with a heart full of longing. When that son returned with empty hands and a weary soul, his father did not demand proof before offering love. He ran to embrace him while he was still far away. That is how I welcome you as well. I do not ask you to repair everything before coming near to me. I only ask that you take a step toward me, even if it is the smallest step imaginable. Leave the rest to me. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened. I never spoke those words as poetic comfort alone. I spoke them because I truly desire to carry the burdens from your shoulders. I want you to know what it feels like to rest within a love that does not require you to strive in order to deserve it. The world teaches you that your value depends on how strong you appear, how successful you become, or how perfectly you hold everything together. But I see deeper than all those things. I see the child within you who simply needs to be held and reminded you do not need to be perfect in order to be loved. So today, do not be afraid to step away from the soft carpets of false security. At first, the stone foundation of truth may make you feel more exposed, but it is there that you will finally stand firmly. I want to lead you into a life that is not merely fine, but overflowing with life itself. A life where peace does not depend on favorable circumstances. A life where your soul no longer needs to hide its thirst. A life where every morning you awaken knowing you are being led by the one who never changes. And when you place your hand within mine, you will realize this: the distance between us was never as great as you imagined. I have been standing here for a very long time, patiently waiting for you to turn around. The moment you take even one step toward the light, I will draw you into the embrace of restoration, the place where all things worn and broken are made new, where every dry place is watered again, and where your soul finally finds rest within a love that has never abandoned you. My beloved child, let your heart rest within this truth. I did not enter your life to condemn you, nor to reopen the wounds that fill you with shame. I came like a healer, entering a darkened room with gentle hands and a small lamp. Enough light, so you no longer need to be afraid. I have seen the sadness hidden behind your smiles, the long nights when your body lay still while your mind remained restless, and exhausted. The moments you turned your face away so no one would notice the redness in your eyes. There are sorrows you have never spoken aloud because you feared being misunderstood or seen as weak. But beloved, before me, you never need to hide anything. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. Not a single tear has ever fallen from your eyes without my knowing. Many times you have told yourself that time alone would eventually make everything fade away. And yes, time can soften the sharpness of memories. It can cover pain with a quiet layer of dust. But time alone cannot heal the soul. There are wounds that seem closed on the surface, yet still ache deeply when an old memory suddenly returns. There are empty places you have tried to fill through work, through busyness, through caring for others. While deep inside there remains a part of you that has never truly been touched. I do not want you merely to learn how to live beside your pain. I want you to be truly healed. And that healing begins when you stop trying to carry everything alone. When you place even your wounds into my hands. My beloved child, I do not simply bandage your soul the way someone temporarily covers a crack in the wall. I desire to restore what has been broken. I want to bring light into the places you have been afraid to look at for so long. Perhaps at first you fear that opening your heart again will only cause the pain to rush back more strongly than before. But trust me, true healing always passes through honesty. When Lazarus lay in the tomb, I did not stand far away telling him to come out before I would save him. I called his name right in the middle of the darkness, and I am calling your name in the same way. Not after you have become perfect, but right in the place where you feel most weary. I am the resurrection and the life. I do not only bring life to things that have died outwardly, I can also breathe life back into the hidden places within your heart that you believed would never feel hope again. Remember the prodigal son. When he returned home, the dust of the road still clung to his clothes, and his heart still carried the weight of failure and shame. He prepared a long speech, hoping only to be accepted back as a servant in his father's house. But the father did not stand there waiting to hear explanations. He saw his son while he was still far away and ran to embrace him before the speech was even finished. Beloved, that is my heart toward you. I do not love you less because of the times you lost your way. Every step you take back toward me causes heaven to rejoice. I do not sit still waiting for you to cross the entire distance alone. The moment your heart turns toward me, I am already running toward you. Do not let delay lull your soul back to sleep any longer. I know there is a voice within you that whispers, "Tomorrow will be fine. I'll return when things feel better." But, beloved, every time you postpone your return, your heart becomes more accustomed to dryness. Just as a room left unopened for too long slowly fills with dust, your soul also becomes dim when it remains too long away from my light. I do not say this to frighten you. I say it because I know you were created for a life far more abundant than mere survival. I do not want you simply enduring your days in a state of quiet exhaustion. I want you to truly live with peace, with freedom, with a joy that does not depend upon circumstances. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. There is a unique beauty in responding to me now, not someday later, because when you open your heart today, you will begin to see light entering the places that have remained dark for far too long. You will realize that you do not need to wait until everything around you becomes perfect before receiving peace. My peace does not wait until the storm ends before appearing. It can remain with you even in the middle of the storm itself. My beloved child, I do not want you merely surviving while hoping that one day things will become better. I want you to taste restoration here and now. Perhaps your circumstances have not changed yet. Perhaps there are still many things causing you anxiety. But if you allow me to enter, something within you will begin changing first. And when the soul is healed, you will find yourself stronger to face everything else. Look at Peter as he walked upon the water. What kept him standing was not the absence of waves, but the fact that his eyes remained fixed on me. Only when Peter looked toward the storm did he begin to sink. It is the same for you. Beloved, if your eyes remain fixed only upon pain, disappointment, or the things that have not yet happened, fear will easily overwhelm your heart. But when you turn your eyes toward me, you will realize that my hand has always been reaching out to hold you steady. So today, do not be afraid to return. Do not think you must bring me a stronger or more polished version of yourself before you are worthy of love. Come with empty hands if necessary. Come carrying your broken pieces and your unanswered questions. I do not wait until you have repaired your life before embracing you. I embrace you so I can walk with you through the healing itself. And little by little, you will begin to understand this. The freedom I desire for you is not some distant promise reserved only for the future. It begins the very moment you stop running from me. The instant you open your heart, the light begins to return. The moment you answer my invitation, life will flow again through your soul, like cool water over dry and thirsty ground. And then you hear prayed and then understand that throughout this entire journey, I have never stopped loving you, never abandoned you, and never stopped standing at the door of your heart, patiently waiting for you to come home, my beloved child. Do not think that my call comes only during the seasons when you are exhausted or broken. I also call to you during the seasons when you believe yourself to be strong, because there are kinds of strength that are only outer garments, covering a soul still quietly starving within. You may achieve the things you once longed for. You may appear to others as though your life is full and complete. Yet, even within success, there will come moments when you suddenly feel an emptiness you cannot explain. Not because you are ungrateful for what you have, but because your soul was created for something greater than this world alone can offer. I did not create you merely to touch temporary achievements and still continue living with an empty heart. I created you to live within a love without conditions, a peace that circumstances cannot steal away, and a hope that remains unshaken no matter how the winds of life may change. I have loved you with an everlasting love, my beloved child, before you even understood who you were, before you ever questioned whether you were worthy or not. I had already called you loved. The world often teaches you that your value must be proven through success, through how strong you appear, or through the way others perceive you. But I see you differently. I do not look only at what you accomplish. I look at the soul within you. And even when you cannot fully love yourself, I still look upon you with eyes of unchanging tenderness. There are people who believe that if they can only reach a certain milestone, then they will finally find peace. Yet when they arrive there, they discover that the thirst within them still remains. Remember King Solomon, a man who possessed more wealth, wisdom, and glory than many who have ever lived upon the earth. He experienced nearly everything the world calls success. Yet in the end, he still declared that all of it was vanity and chasing after the wind, apart from the presence of God. Do you see? Beloved, your soul was not created to survive on temporary things alone. It was created to anchor itself in what is eternal. And because I love you so deeply, I do not want you continuing to live behind the mask of "I'm fine" while inwardly you are exhausted. There will come a moment when you stand before a very important crossroads within your soul. One path will feel familiar and easy, a road where you can continue smiling at others while pretending you need nothing more. That road asks nothing of you. It does not require change or invite you to face the deeper emptiness within yourself. It lulls you into a life that is merely stable enough to survive. But beloved, I know your heart was never created for a half-lived life like that. The other path may feel narrower, and at times, It may require you to let go of things that once made you feel secure. It asks you to trust the light, even when you cannot yet see the full road ahead. But it is the path leading toward true life. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction. I do not say this to frighten you, but to remind you that what is most precious is rarely found upon the easiest road. There are places of beauty and life that can only be discovered when you are courageous enough to leave behind the familiar in order to follow my voice. My beloved child, I will not stand far away while you struggle with that choice alone. I will stand right at the meeting place of those two roads, patiently waiting for you to lift your eyes and realize that I am there. I do not push you through fear. I extend my hand through love. When Peter stepped out of the boat and walked upon the water, he was not stepping toward emptiness. He was stepping toward me. That is why he could walk through what seemed impossible. It is the same for you. What keeps you standing is not that you see everything clearly, but that you know whose hand is holding yours. Perhaps you fear that if you truly step into the light, you will have to face the weaker and more fragile parts of yourself. But listen carefully. Beloved, my light does not come to shame you. My light comes to heal you. A dark room is never scolded for having been dark too long. The moment light enters, darkness naturally begins to retreat. That is how I come to your soul, not to expose you before the world, but to restore the life you slowly lost during all those years spent trying to appear fine. My beloved child, every time you choose honesty with me, instead of continuing to pretend you are strong, heaven opens a little wider within your heart. Every step you take toward the light becomes the beginning of a new chapter. At first, you may not immediately feel dramatic changes, but little by little, you will notice your heart becoming lighter. The things that once held you captive will slowly lose their power. The voices and distractions that once pulled you away will no longer guide your steps so easily. And you will realize that what I am calling you into is not a life of hardship and emptiness, but true freedom. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. I have never left the door of your heart. Though you have walked through seasons of doubt and moments where you tried to heal yourself through your own strength, I have remained there with unchanging patience. I do not love you less because you were slow to return, but I long for you not to delay any longer, because I know the life waiting for you on the other side of your answer. So today, if you are standing at that crossroads, do not ask only which path feels easier. Ask instead where my presence is. Because wherever I am, even if the road feels narrow and asks for deeper trust, it will always lead toward abundant life. And when you place your hand into mine and begin walking forward, you will discover that this crossroads is not a loss at all. It is a gift of love from me to you, a doorway opening into a new journey where your soul can finally live within the light it has been searching for all along. My beloved child, there are things you call fine simply because you have become too accustomed to suffering in silence. You learned how to smile while your heart was weary. You learned how to say, "I'm okay," even while there were wounds within you that had never truly healed. But beloved, pretending to be strong does not make the wound disappear. It only causes your soul to continue walking while quietly bleeding where no one else can see. I do not condemn you for surviving this way. I know you are simply trying to endure your hardest days, but I do not want you to remain trapped in survival mode forever. I want you to truly live with a heart that is healed, rested, and finally free. There are people who cover their wounds with busyness. Some use laughter to hide their loneliness. Others throw themselves into caring for everyone else, simply so they do not have to face the emptiness within their own hearts. But beloved, I see what lies beneath those coverings. I see the places within you that still ache whenever they are touched. I see the memories you try to forget that still quietly cause your heart to ache during silent nights. And I do not come to rip those bandages away harshly and wound you further. I come like a gentle physician, carefully lifting the wound with hands full of love, so I may heal the deepest places you have never dared to open before anyone else. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened. I did not speak those words to people who were already perfect. I spoke them to souls exhausted from pretending to be fine for far too long. You do not need to become stronger before coming to me. It is precisely when you are weakest and most honest that my healing power can touch you most deeply. A broken branch cannot restore itself by pretending it is still whole. It needs care and restoration. Your soul is the same. Remember the people of Israel standing before the Red Sea. Behind them stood the armies of Egypt. Before them stretched deep waters with no visible escape. Turning back would have been easier, because at least they understood the familiar misery of slavery. Moving forward was terrifying, because ahead of them there was only water that had not yet parted. But beloved, the miracle did not appear while they stood frozen in fear. The dry path opened only when they chose to move forward in faith. It is the same for you. There are moments when you want to see everything clearly before daring to trust me. But many of the miracles I have prepared for you appear only after the first step of trust is taken. The path of light sometimes asks you to release things that have become deeply familiar. Perhaps it is a way of thinking that continually wounds your own heart. Perhaps it is a relationship that slowly drains the life from your soul. Perhaps it is the habit of pretending you never need help from anyone. I know letting go is not easy. But beloved, not everything familiar is truly nourishing you. Some things have become so normal to you that you believe you cannot live without them, while in reality they are quietly stealing away the life I placed within you. And that crossroads will not appear only once. Every day, your soul stands before small choices filled with great meaning, choosing forgiveness or continuing to hold bitterness, choosing to pause and pray or allowing yourself to be endlessly swept along, choosing honesty about your pain or continuing to cover it with a strained smile. Beloved, do not underestimate those small decisions. A mighty river is formed from countless small drops of water, and the direction of your life is shaped in the same way through ordinary choices, repeated day after day. Today, choose life. I continually place before you both light and darkness, life and slow exhaustion, but I do not force you. True love always leaves room for freedom. I simply stand beside you, patiently reminding you that you were created for a life far more abundant than merely surviving through another day. The path of light may not always feel easy at first, but it leads your soul to a place where it can breathe again. Meanwhile, the path of pretending may feel peaceful for a season, but over time it slowly steals away the softness of your heart, your hope, and your ability to recognize true love. My beloved child, I know there are moments when you fear you are not strong enough to reach the end of this journey, but listen to me carefully. I have never asked you to become strong through your own strength alone. When Peter stepped out of the boat, he did not walk because of his own power. He remained standing because his eyes were fixed on me. And even when Peter began to sink because of fear, I immediately reached out my hand and lifted him up. That is how I treat you. True strength is not found in never falling. It is found in knowing how to reach for my hand again after every fall. I am not disappointed by your slow steps or your moments of weakness. What brings joy to my heart is not that you have never failed, but that you continue choosing the light even when you must walk through mist without clearly seeing the road ahead. Every time you return to me, even through the smallest prayer, heaven opens a little wider within your soul, and little by little, you will discover that you no longer need to force yourself merely to survive. Joy will return. Peace will grow deeper. The things that once frightened you will slowly lose their power over you. My beloved child, I am standing at that crossroads beside you. I do not pressure you, condemn you, or abandon you to make your decisions alone in isolation. I simply extend my hand gently and say, Walk toward life. Walk toward the light, because there you will find not only healing for today, but also the future filled with hope that I prepared for you long ago. My beloved child, when you stand before the crossroads of your life, do not think that I remain only at the end of the road, waiting to see whether you will make it there. I am not a distant God watching you struggle through choices and fears from far away. The moment you turn your heart toward the light, I am already walking beside you. I will not leave you alone to travel through roads still covered in mist. Perhaps you cannot yet see the future ahead, but I can. Perhaps you do not yet understand why you must release certain familiar things, but I know what awaits you on the other side of that obedience. And because I know, I will continue whispering guidance to you, one small step at a time, and step by step, you will begin to discover this miracle. The path of light does not merely pull you out of darkness, it leads you onto entirely new ground. Before, you lived with constant anxiety, like someone walking upon sinking sand, always afraid of collapsing at any moment. But when you allow me to guide you, I place your feet upon rock that cannot be shaken. He set my feet upon a rock and made my steps secure. Storms will still come, because I never promised that your life would be free from trials. But I have promised that those trials will no longer have the power to destroy your soul. My beloved child, the peace I give is very different from the temporary calmness the world offers. The world calls it peace when everything is favorable, when no problems arise, when everyone treats you kindly. But my peace can remain with you even while dark clouds still fill the sky. It is the kind of peace that keeps your heart from panicking while everything around you shakes. Just as Jesus slept peacefully in the boat during the great storm, my presence within you is greater than anything coming against you. And when your soul truly learns how to rest in me, you will understand that peace is not the absence of storms, but my presence in the middle of them. I know there are still days when your heart feels weak. Sometimes you take a few steps forward only to feel tempted to return to old and familiar patterns. Sometimes you feel as though you are not strong enough to live differently. But beloved, do not forget that I do not lead you through force. I guide you through love. When a child learns to walk, a father does not grow angry each time the child falls. He bends down, lifts the child up, and takes the child's hand again to continue walking. That is how I care for you. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, not because they have never been weak, but because after every fall, they know how to return to my hand. Remember Peter as he stepped out onto the water. As long as his eyes remained fixed on me, he continued walking upon the waves. Only when he focused upon the storm and his fear did he begin to sink. It is the same for you, beloved. If you keep your eyes fixed only on circumstances, uncertainty, or the things you feel you lack, your heart will easily be pulled down by anxiety. But if you keep your eyes turned toward me, you will discover that true strength does not come from your own ability, but from the one who walks beside you. And one day, when you turn back and look upon the journey behind you, you will understand that the very crossroads that once frightened you became the beginning of the deepest restoration of your life. The things you once believed were losses will reveal themselves as freedom. The doors that closed were quietly protecting you from places that would have slowly drained your soul. You will see that I had been preparing each step for you long before you even knew you needed it. Not a single tear was wasted in my hands. Not a single road you walked was meaningless. My beloved child, as you walk deeper into the light, you will begin to realize that I am not healing, only you. I am transforming your life into a resting place for other wandering souls. The peace I place within you will become strength for the weary. The hope I plant within you will become a lamp for those still walking through darkness. There will be people who find their way home simply because they see within you a steadiness that does not come from this world. Let your light shine before others. That light is not something you create through your own strength. It is the result of remaining close to me long enough for your heart to become filled with my presence. And when that happens, even the ordinary things about you begin to carry life within them. A gentle word from your lips may rescue a heart standing at the edge of despair. A quiet peace within your eyes may cause someone to realize that heaven is still very near. So, today, keep walking forward. You do not need to understand everything waiting ahead. You do not need certainty that you will never stumble again. Simply continue holding my hand. I will lead you through every season of your life. And with every step, you will understand more deeply that the safest place is not the place without storms, but the place where I walk beside you. It is there that your soul will no longer merely survive, but truly live, truly rest, and become filled with a light that never fades. My beloved child, the new journey I am opening before you is not a road without trials, but it is a road that is no longer directionless. I will not promise you that the winds will never blow strongly again or that the skies will always remain clear. There will still be turns that force you to slow down, hills that leave your legs weary, and days when you feel too weak to continue. But the difference now is this: you are no longer walking upon sinking ground. I am placing your feet upon the solid rock of my presence, where even when storms arrive, your soul still has a place to stand firm. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. Beloved, there were days when you believed you were standing by your own strength. Yet even a small storm was enough to shake you. I want you to understand that true stability does not come from becoming stronger than every circumstance. It comes from being anchored to the one who can never be shaken. A house built upon sand may appear beautiful during sunny days, but only a foundation built upon rock can endure through the night of the storm. And I am teaching you to build your life upon that foundation, not through haste, but through small acts of trust repeated each day. My beloved child, there will be moments when you cannot yet see the entire road ahead. I know that sometimes makes your heart uneasy. You want to know where everything is leading, to see the outcome before you so you can feel secure. But true faith is not seeing everything before taking a step. True faith is daring to move forward when there is only enough light for the next step. Just as the people of Israel walked through the wilderness, they were not given the full map for all 40 years at once. I guided them day by day through the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. It is the same for you. I am not leaving you in darkness. I will give you enough light to continue today. And tomorrow, I will again provide enough light for tomorrow. And little by little, you will begin to realize that you no longer make decisions out of fear. In the past, many times you chose things simply to avoid pain, avoid loss, or escape the feeling of uncertainty. But as you walk deeper into my presence, your heart will gradually be guided by peace instead of panic. You will learn how to pause before reacting. You will begin listening to the whisper of the Spirit instead of chasing the noise of pressure and urgency. And within that quietness, I will show you which path truly leads to life. Remember David when he stood before Goliath. What made David different was not that he had never felt fear, but that he knew who stood beside him. Others saw a giant too powerful to defeat. David saw a God too great to fail. Beloved, many of the battles in your life are the same. When you focus only on the storm, your heart will easily lose courage. But when your eyes remain fixed on me, fear will slowly lose its power. Not because circumstances immediately change, but because your soul remembers whose hands are holding it. I also want you to understand that this firm foundation is not only meant to keep you from falling. When your heart is healed and restored, I will begin using your life itself to bring light to others. Before, you spent so much strength simply trying not to drown. But now, As your soul rests upon secure ground, your hands will become strong enough to lift others as well. You will begin noticing opportunities to love that you once overlooked. A word of comfort from you will touch someone standing in despair. A quiet peace within your eyes will cause someone else to feel that heaven is still very near. Comfort others with the comfort you yourself have received from me. Beloved, I do not waste any wound you have ever endured. The painful seasons of your past will become the very places through which you understand and empathize with others more deeply. The times I lifted you up will teach you how to extend your hand toward those who are falling. And then you will begin to see that what I am doing within you is not only so you can survive this life, but so your life itself may become living water for souls that have grown dry and weary. As you continue walking upon the ground I have prepared for you, the glittering promises of the world will slowly lose their attraction, not because you suddenly hate the world, but because your soul has tasted something better. A person who has drunk pure water is no longer easily deceived by sweet drinks that only deepen the thirst. You will begin discerning which voices carry life and which invitations quietly drain your soul. The fears that once controlled you will gradually weaken, because now you know you no longer need to hold everything together through your own strength alone. My beloved child, I do not promise that there will never again be nights when you feel weary, but I promise there will never be a night you must face alone. When Elijah collapsed beneath the broom tree, exhausted and ready to give up, I did not abandon him. I sent an angel with bread and water before leading him onward again. I will care for you in the same way. When you are weak, I will lift you. When you are weary, I will give you rest. And when you no longer have strength to pray with words, I still understand the sighs hidden within your heart. So today, if the journey ahead still feels long, do not be afraid. This foundation was not built by your own hands, and you do not need to sustain it through your own strength either. I, myself, am the one holding you. I, myself, am the refuge that never changes through every season of life. And no matter what tomorrow may bring, you can continue walking with this peace within you. You are anchored in a love that will never abandon you. It is there that your soul will finally stop trembling in fear and learn how to truly rest within my embrace. My beloved child, let your heart grow still and listen deeply to my voice calling to you now. I have never left the place where you are standing, nor have I ever turned my face away during the seasons that left your soul weary. Even when you believed you had wandered too far, my voice still quietly touched your spirit like a gentle breeze slipping through a half-open window. I call to you, not with pressure or condemnation, but with a steadfast love that has never run dry. And today, I want you to understand something very important. There is still hope for you. There is still light ahead. There is still a path where your heart no longer has to live merely in a state of surviving. There are traps in life that do not appear frightening. They do not arrive with loud warnings that immediately put you on guard. They come softly, like morning mist, so gentle that you believe everything is still fine. At first, it is only a small weariness you cannot explain, a quiet emptiness after long days, a gradual coldness toward the very things that once caused your soul to come alive. And little by little, that sadness begins sinking deeper. It settles over your thoughts, over the way you see yourself, even over the hope that once burned brightly within you. And if you continue silently enduring it alone, it slowly becomes a burden that teaches you how to live without light until you no longer realize your soul is fading day by day. But beloved, I never created you merely to endure your way through this life. I did not form you simply to wake each morning because you must survive one more day. I created you for abundant life. I want you to know what true peace feels like, to laugh freely without needing your smile to hide the cracks within your heart. I came that they may have life, and have it abundantly. That is not a distant promise reserved for another day. It is what I desire to pour into your soul even now. You have tried to be strong for too long, haven't you? You learned to say, "I'm fine," almost automatically, so no one would worry about you. You trained yourself to carry the burdens of others while your own shoulders quietly trembled from exhaustion. I see all of it. I see the nights you lie still in darkness while your mind refuses to rest. I see the moments you laugh with others, only to feel strangely empty afterward. I even see the silent places within your heart that no one but me has ever known. There is a place deep inside you, like a lonely cliff, standing beneath a long night sky, a place you have tried to cover with work, with noise, with conversations that never move beyond the surface. But when all the sounds around you finally become quiet, that longing inside you still remains. Beloved, do not fear that longing. It is not proof that you are weak. It is proof that your soul is still searching for me. Just as the deer longs for streams of water, your spirit is thirsting for what only I can give. My soul thirsts for the living God. There are thirsts that cannot be healed by more success, more busyness, or more approval from the world. They can only be healed when you return to the true source of life. Remember Hagar in the wilderness. After being driven away from the place where she once found shelter, she sat down in despair, believing she had been forgotten. But I saw her there, in that dry and desolate land. I opened her eyes to see the well of water that had been near her all along. It is the same for you. Beloved, there are moments when you believe you are trapped within the lonely wilderness of your own soul. Yet I am still there beside you. The living water is closer than you realize. What you need is not to force yourself to become stronger again, but to open your heart and allow me to guide your eyes toward the place where life is already waiting for you. I know there are days when you feel as though you are living from the very last strength remaining within you. You keep moving forward because you believe there is no other choice. But I do not want you to live like someone merely trying not to collapse. I want you to live like someone who knows they are loved, protected, and guided. When you remain close to me, you will slowly begin to realize that you no longer need to carry everything by yourself. There are burdens you have carried for far too long simply because you forgot that my hands had already been extended to receive them from the beginning. Cast all your anxieties upon him, because he cares for you. Beloved, I did not speak those words as a beautiful idea for you to admire and then forget. I truly desire to lift the heaviness from your shoulders. I want to exchange your exhaustion for rest. I want to replace fear with an unshakable hope. I want to fill the emptiness within you with the fullness of my love. Perhaps today you still do not see everything changing immediately. Perhaps the wounds within your heart still ache when they are touched. But trust me, light always begins with a small ray piercing through the darkness. And that ray of light is already here. The very fact that you can still hear this calling, the very fact that your heart still trembles at my voice, is proof that your soul has never been abandoned. So today, stop running from the quiet places within your heart. Do not rush to fill them with more distractions. Let me enter there. Let me sit beside you in the dark nights and touch the deepest places still hurting inside you. I am not afraid of your broken pieces. I am not uncomfortable with the tears you have not yet wiped away. I do not turn away from your weakness. It is precisely in those places that my healing power begins its work. And one day, you will look back upon this part of your journey and realize that the very place where you thought you were sinking was the place where I drew you closer to my heart than ever before. You will understand that I never abandoned you in despair. I simply stood there patiently, gently calling your name through every layer of sorrow's mist, until you finally turned around and saw that the light had always been there, waiting for you to step into it. My beloved child, the voice calling from deep within your heart is not proof that you are lost beyond hope. It is proof that your soul is still alive, still longing for the light, still remembering that it was created for something greater than this quiet exhaustion. If there were no life left within you, you would no longer feel pain, no longer feel emptiness, no longer lie awake, restless through long nights. But that nameless longing inside you is speaking softly, reminding you that a part of your soul is still reaching toward me like a young plant bending toward the sunlight. Beloved, your soul is like a seed buried deep within the earth after a long winter. From the outside, everything may appear silent and cold. Yet inside that seed, there is still life waiting for the first rain of spring. If it remains buried beneath dry soil without being touched by light and fresh water, it can never rise into a living tree. The quiet sorrow within you is much the same. When you try to cover it with busyness, forced smiles, or the words, "I'm fine," it does not disappear. It simply remains hidden there, slowly draining your strength day after day. And then you begin feeling exhausted without understanding why. Weary, even from small tasks. Because what is wearing you down is not only work, it is a soul that has been deprived of the breath of hope. I have seen the very small things that wounded your heart. A careless sentence someone spoke that you carried within yourself for years. A moment of being forgotten that taught you not to expect too much anymore. A disappointment you hid because you believed you had to remain strong. A relationship that no longer brought life to your soul. Yet you continued holding on to it simply to avoid facing loneliness. Beloved, these things are like small grains of sand trapped inside the shoes of a traveler. At first, they seem only slightly uncomfortable. But if the person keeps walking without stopping to remove them, every step slowly becomes painful. Some wounds within your soul were not caused by one great tragedy, but by small hurts repeated silently for far too long. I do not condemn you for choosing silence. I know you were simply trying to survive in the only way you knew how. You believed that if you kept moving forward, if you refused to touch the pain again, then one day it would disappear on its own. But beloved, silence cannot heal what needs to be brought into the light. A dark room does not become bright simply because you pretend the darkness is not there. It needs light to enter, and I am standing before the door of your heart, holding that light in my hands. Cast your burden upon the Lord, and He will sustain you. I do not want you continuing to carry things that are causing your soul to bend beneath their weight. I did not create you to remain strong by yourself all the time. There are burdens I long ago desired to carry for you, but you kept holding them tightly because you feared that letting go would mean weakness. But beloved, true strength is not found in never collapsing. True strength is having the courage to open your heart and allow me into the deepest places of your pain. Remember Bartimaeus, the blind man sitting beside the road. He had lived in darkness for so long that many people believed his life would never change. But when he heard that I was passing by, he cried out with every remaining ounce of longing still alive within his heart. Even when the crowd told him to be silent, he continued calling out, and I stopped for him. Beloved, I am also stopping for the quiet cry hidden within your soul. No darkness has lasted so long that I cannot bring light into it. No place within your heart is so deep that my hands cannot reach it. Perhaps today you still wonder, I have lived this way for so long. Can I truly become different now? And I want you to hear my answer clearly. Yes, you can, not merely through small outward changes, but through true restoration from within. I prepared that path long before you even began questioning whether hope still existed for you. My light will not crash into your life in a way that terrifies you. I know the eyes of your soul have grown accustomed to darkness for too long. So I will come gently like the dawn. At first, only a small ray of light slips through the cracks of the door, then a little more. And one day, you will open your eyes and realize that the room which once suffocated you has become filled with light. Beloved, Healing does not always arrive through dramatic moments. Often it comes through very small things. One moment when you choose honesty with me instead of hiding again. One moment when you allow your tears to fall without shame. One moment when you sit quietly long enough to hear me whisper that you are still worthy of love. These things are like the first drops of water falling upon dry ground. At first, you may not see visible change, but beneath the surface, life is already beginning to awaken. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. Beloved, I did not come to wound you further. I came to protect the small remaining light still burning within you and breathe upon it until it becomes a new flame. I am far gentler with your weakness than you realize. When you are weary, I do not push you away. When you fall, I do not turn my back on you. And when you no longer have strength to pray with words, I still understand the sighs hidden within your soul. So today, do not continue burying that pain deeper inside yourself. Let me touch it. Let the light enter every dark room within your heart. I promise you that what waits on the other side of healing is not shame, but freedom, not painful exposure, but new life. And then you will understand that what I am doing is not merely helping you hurt less, but restoring you to the person I originally created you to be, a soul able to love, able to hope, and able to live fully within my unfading light. My beloved child, for true healing to begin growing within you, you must remain closer to me than you may realize. Not because I desire to keep you dependent in weakness, but because only near the light can you clearly see the things that have quietly been holding you back. There are chains that cannot be seen outwardly, yet they tighten around your soul day after day. An old thought you have believed for too long that you are not good enough. A memory that makes you afraid to open your heart again. A habit that slowly hardens your spirit against life itself. A pain you keep hidden because you fear that touching it will cause you to shatter. Beloved, I see all these things, and I do not bring them into the light to shame you. I reveal them so your hands may finally become free to remove what has bound you for far too long. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Beloved, many times what exhausts you is not only your circumstances, but the false things you have quietly believed about yourself. At times you believed you had to remain strong in order to deserve love. At times you believed you had to please everyone in order not to be abandoned. At times you became so accustomed to enduring pain that you began thinking peace was something meant only for other people. But I never created you to live chained to those lies. I created you to walk in the freedom of my love, a love that does not require perfection before it embraces you. Remember the woman who had been bent over for 18 years in the synagogue. Others saw only the outward condition of her body, but I saw the invisible chain that had bound her soul. And when I called her near, I did not ask her to prove anything first. I simply declared that she had been set free. Beloved, I am calling you near in the same way, not to condemn the weak places within you, but to cut away the things that have prevented your soul from standing upright in the light for so many years. I do not want your life to remain a patchwork stitched together from days spent merely surviving. I did not create you to live only from the scraps of strength left over after exhausting yourself carrying everything alone. I want to see you living in fullness. I want your smile to come from genuine joy rather than serving as a mask hiding your exhaustion. I want to see you sleeping peacefully, not because you are too tired to keep thinking, but because your heart has truly found rest within peace. I want your soul to still tremble at goodness, still soften before love, still know how to hope even after the most painful seasons of your life. Beloved, my love is greater than every dark corner within you. There is no place in your heart so deep that I cannot enter it. There is no part of you so hardened that I cannot bring it back to life again. When Ezekiel stood before the valley of dry bones, everything appeared completely hopeless. Yet I spoke life over what seemed dead, and my breath caused those bones to rise again. It is the same for you. There may be places within you that have not felt joy for a very long time, places that no longer believe things can ever become better. But my breath is still able to restore all things. So today, stop pretending to be fine. Stop covering the weariness of your soul with more layers of masks. I have already prepared a safer place for you, a place where you can lay down every burden without fear of judgment. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Beloved, I do not merely want to help you endure life more effectively. I want to free you from the things that have quietly been draining the life from within you all this time. I know there are sorrows you have carried for so long that they have begun to feel like a familiar part of your life. But do not allow that sorrow to take deeper root within you. Do not let it become despair and cause you to forget the light that once lived inside your heart. I want to transform the tears you have cried in silence into a new song of hope. I want to exchange fear for a gentle kind of courage. I want to turn the days you merely endure and survive into a journey filled with life and meaning. And then you will discover this miracle. The very wounds that once made you believe you could not continue will become the places where my light shines through most powerfully. You will understand how others suffer because you yourself have walked through that darkness. You will know how to hold a hopeless soul with true compassion, and your life will become a small lamp for those wandering through the night just as you once did. Beloved, I do not require you to come to me with perfect prayers. I do not need beautifully arranged words spoken flawlessly. What I seek is simply an honest heart. If today you whisper only this, Lord, I am willing, that alone is enough for heaven to begin moving within your soul. Leave the rest to me. I will enter the deepest places of your pain without breaking you apart. I will open every door you have locked away for so long, and I will do it with gentleness. I will bring light into the darkest rooms within your heart until you finally realize that darkness was never stronger than my love. And one day, when you look back upon the road you have traveled, you will weep, not because of pain anymore, but because you finally understand this. Even in your darkest nights, you were never truly alone. I was there through the entire journey, quietly sitting beside you, patiently calling your name through every layer of sorrow's fog, waiting for you to turn around and realize that the house had always remained open and my arms had never once closed against you. My beloved child, let these words reach the most weary places within your heart. Not one tear has ever fallen from your eyes without me seeing it. Not one sigh has ever risen in the darkness without me hearing it. There are pains you have never spoken aloud to anyone. Silent places, even those closest to you, have failed to notice. Yet I know them all. I see the way your eyes grow heavy after forced laughter. I see the moments when your silence is not because you have nothing to say, but because you are simply too exhausted to explain your heart anymore. You believed you had to walk through everything alone. But even in the moments you felt most forgotten, I was still there, closer than your very breath. I have called you by name. You are mine. Beloved, the world may make you feel like just another face among countless others, but to me, you have never been unknown. I know your name. I know the story you have walked through. I know the things that once softened your heart, and also the things that slowly caused it to close itself away. There are wounds within you that do not bleed outwardly, so no one notices them. A cold glance from someone you deeply loved, a careless sentence that has echoed in your mind for years, a moment of abandonment when you needed someone most. These things are like thin blades cutting quietly into the soul, silent, yet deep enough that you eventually learned how to hide your pain beneath a calm appearance. I know there are days when you sit surrounded by laughter and still feel alone. There are nights when all you truly long for is for someone to sincerely ask, "Are you okay?" Not so you can give a quick answer, but so you can finally feel truly seen. Many times you have lifted your eyes toward heaven hoping for some small sign from me. Some answer, some touch, gentle enough to reassure you that you have not been forgotten. But when the silence seemed to continue, you began wondering whether I was still near at all. Beloved, even within that silence, I have still been holding you in ways you could not yet see. Remember Hagar as she wandered through the wilderness with her child. There was no water left, no strength remaining, no hope within sight. She believed she had been abandoned in that dry and desolate land. But I called her by name in the very place of her deepest despair. And Hagar called me, the God who sees me. Beloved, I am looking upon you in the same way, not with distant eyes, but with the gaze of the one who knows every crack within your soul and still chooses to remain beside you. Perhaps others walked away when you were no longer cheerful as before. Perhaps some only loved the version of you that appeared strong and easy to be around, but did not have the patience to stay through the days when your heart was weak. But I never chose you because of your perfection. I do not love you because you are always strong, always right, or always certain of what to do. I love you because you are mine. My love does not change according to your moods, your failures, or the darkest seasons of your life. I have loved you with an everlasting love, even when you doubt your own worth. My love for you remains unmoved. Beloved, there were many times you thought you were still standing because of your own strength. But if you look back deeply enough, you will realize there was an unseen hand holding you together at the very moments you were closest to collapse. The nights you believed you could not endure any longer, yet still awoke the next morning. The times you thought your heart would never heal again, yet somehow you continued to love. The moments you wanted to give up on everything, but something within you still held on. That was me. You may not always have felt my presence, but I have never once released my hold on you. Like a mother holding her child close through a cold storm, I have sheltered your soul through more seasons of pain than you even realize. There were things I quietly stopped before they could ever reach you. There were doors that closed and broke your heart at first. Yet in truth, they protected you from wounds far deeper than the ones you knew. There were days when all I did was keep the flame inside your heart from completely going out, and even that was already a miracle. Beloved, I do not want you to continue living with the feeling that you must earn love before you deserve it. My love is not a reward reserved for the perfect. It is a refuge for weary souls. I do not wait for you to become fully healed before drawing near to you. I step directly into the middle of your brokenness. When Thomas doubted, I did not reject him. I allowed him to touch my wounds so he would understand that true love is not afraid to be seen in pain. And I want you to stop being ashamed of the places where you are weak, because it is there that my grace will reach you most deeply. Cast your burdens upon me. Beloved, I do not want you to continue carrying everything alone anymore. You were not created to bear every sorrow without having somewhere to rest. I am here to become the resting place for your soul. When you are weary, come close to me. When you no longer have words left to pray, simply sit quietly before me. I understand even the things your tears are trying to say, and there will come a day when you look back upon this journey with different eyes. You will realize that the lonely seasons were not proof that I abandoned you, but seasons in which I was quietly drawing you closer to my heart. You will see that even when no one else understood you, I still did. Even when the world made you feel you were not enough, I still called you precious. And even when darkness surrounded you on every side, my eyes never left you for a single moment. So today, stop being afraid that you have been forgotten. Stop believing that silence means I am no longer near. I am still here, still sitting beside you through every long night, still gently calling your name through every layer of pain and sorrow, and I will continue to remain with you until your heart becomes peaceful enough to believe once more that you are deeply loved, carefully held, and have never truly been alone. My beloved child, let your heart grow still and listen deeply to what I want to tell you today, before anyone in this world ever knew your name. I already knew you. Before you cried your first breath into this life, my heart had already loved you with a love that has neither beginning nor end. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. You are not an accident thrown into this vast world by chance. You are an intention woven together by my love. I saw every day of your life before it ever came to pass. I knew there would be seasons of joy, and I also knew there would be nights when you would cry silently in the dark. Yet even seeing all of that, I still chose to love you completely. No one understands your soul the way I do. Other people only see what you allow them to see: a smile, a quiet, "I'm fine," an outward appearance trying to remain strong. But I see far beneath that surface. I know every thought you have never spoken aloud. I know the fears you hide behind your calmness. I know the moments when you quietly blame yourself in silence. And I also know the beautiful things I planted within you that even you sometimes fail to recognize. Beloved, I do not love you the way the world often loves. The world usually places conditions upon its love. People love when you make them happy, when you are useful, when you are strong and radiant. But I do not come to you with conditions like these. I do not love you more when you succeed, nor do I abandon you when you fail. My love does not shift according to moods or circumstances. It does not rise and fall with the changing seasons of your life. I am the Lord. I do not change. So even on the days when you feel there is nothing left within you worth loving, I still look upon you with the same gentle eyes I had for you from the beginning. There have been times when you believed you had to keep striving in order to be accepted. You tried to become good enough, strong enough, useful enough so you would not be left behind. But beloved, before me, you no longer need to perform the role of the strong one. I do not love the perfected version you created to satisfy others. I love you, including the parts that are hurting, exhausted, trembling with fear. And it is precisely in your weakest moments that my power finds the deepest place to touch your soul. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Remember Peter, after he denied me 3 times. He believed he had failed so completely that he was no longer worthy to be called by my name. But I did not turn away from him. I sought him out after his collapse. I did not repeat his failure in order to shame him. I asked him only one thing: do you love me, beloved? This is also how I look at you. Your failures do not cause me to stop loving you. I do not stand far away with disappointed eyes. I step down into the mud of pain and failure to lift you up again with hands full of mercy. I know there were nights when you cried and no one knew. There were moments when you lay quietly in the darkness, feeling so empty inside that you no longer had strength even to pray. Beloved, I was there. I sat beside you in that silence. I do not always break the silence with dramatic miracles or immediate answers. Many times I simply cover you with my gentle presence, like warmth slowly entering a cold room, like a soft blanket laid across trembling shoulders. And even when you could not see it, my arms remained around you through every long night. Under his wings you will find refuge, beloved. Perhaps people have disappointed you many times. Some promised they would stay, yet eventually walked away. Some once made you feel loved, then later became strangers. There were relationships into which you poured all your trust, only to be left with emptiness and wounds. I know these things made you afraid to open your heart again, but I am not like the fragility of human love. My love has no expiration. I do not grow weary of remaining beside you for a long time. I do not leave simply because you have weak and broken days. Even when you forget to seek me, I still remember you. Even when you close the doors of your heart because of disappointment, I still stand patiently outside and wait. Behold, I stand at the door and knock, not because I wish to force you to open it, but because I love you far too deeply to walk away. Beloved, I want you to understand that your value is not determined by how many people choose to remain with you. Your value rests in the fact that you belong to me. A precious jewel does not lose its worth simply because someone fails to recognize its beauty. Neither do you. The wounds others inflicted upon you cannot define who you are. The only thing that truly defines you is the love I placed upon your life from the very beginning. Perhaps today you still cannot fully see the beauty I see within you. Perhaps you are still viewing yourself through the lens of disappointment, pain, and words that once wounded your heart deeply. But I am slowly healing the eyes of your soul so you may begin seeing yourself as I see you, not as someone broken beyond repair, but as my beloved child, being shaped, restored, and renewed day by day. So today, stop being afraid that you must keep yourself lovable in order not to be abandoned. Stop believing that you must remain strong at all times to deserve being held. I have never loved you because of your achievements. I love you simply because you are you. And even now, though your heart still carries many unhealed fractures, though there are parts within you still trembling with fear and loneliness, I remain beside you with the same unchanging gentleness in my eyes. I still place my hand upon your heart and whisper softly, "You have never been forgotten. You have never walked alone. And there is nothing in this world powerful enough to separate you from my love." My beloved child, there have been seasons when you walked through such dry lands that your soul itself began forgetting what it felt like to be refreshed. The worries of life, the hidden pressures, the countless voices of the world calling for your attention slowly pulled your mind farther away from true peace. And eventually there were moments when you looked back and no longer knew when you had drifted from my presence. But listen carefully to me today, even when you lost sight of me. I never lost sight of you, even when your eyes could no longer clearly see the light. My eyes were still watching over every step you took. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Those words have never changed, not because I am forced to remain beside you, but because my love for you is deeper than every distance. My love is not like the fragile emotions of human beings, passionate today, faded tomorrow. Love is part of my very nature. I do not know how to love halfway. Even when you searched for comfort in other places, I still stood patiently waiting. Even when you doubted my presence, I was still quietly protecting your soul through every dark season. Beloved, I see you very differently from the way the world sees you. People often measure you by what you accomplish, by your strength, or by your success. But I look deeper than all those things. I see you in the original form in which I created you from the beginning. I see beauty within your soul, even when all you notice are your fractures. I see potential within you, even when you are confused about yourself. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Nothing within you is meaningless. The gentle parts of your heart, your ability to love, your compassion, your sensitivity toward goodness, all of these carry my fingerprints upon them. Perhaps today you feel lost within this vast world. Perhaps there are moments when you quietly wonder, does anyone still remember me? But beloved, heaven has never forgotten you. I still remember every sigh you release into the night. I still hear the prayers you cannot even form into words. There are times when you become too weary to pray and can only sit in silence while tears fall from your eyes. Yet even that silence, I understand completely. Remember Elijah beneath the broom tree. After long battles, he became so exhausted that he wanted to surrender everything. He believed he was alone, forgotten, and no longer strong enough to continue. But I did not condemn him for his weakness. I sent an angel with bread and water, then gently called him to rise again. Beloved, This is how I care for you as well. I do not demand that you always remain strong. I know there are seasons when your soul simply needs to rest safely within loving arms instead of continuing to struggle and hold itself together alone. I do not need you to come to me as a perfected version of yourself. I do not require beautifully arranged prayers or carefully chosen words. What I am seeking is simply an honest heart, a heart willing to admit that it is tired, hurting, and in need of healing. Because only when you stop pretending to be strong can you truly open the door for my love to enter the deepest places within you. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened. I did not speak those words merely as a beautiful comfort and nothing more. I truly desire to carry the heaviness from your shoulders. I want to transform the days you merely endure into days when you truly begin to live. I want your heart to know deep peace again, the kind of peace that does not depend on whether every circumstance has already been resolved, but flows from knowing you are loved unconditionally. Beloved, you were not created to live a quietly broken life. I did not create you to spend your days shrinking back in fear of being hurt again. I created you to walk in closeness with me, to know there is always a place where you belong, a place where no one asks you to prove your worth, a place where you are heard even when you no longer have words to speak, a place where you are embraced even when you feel filled with broken pieces. And if the world sometimes makes you feel forgotten, remember this: heaven still remembers the sound of your crying. The one who created the stars still remembers your name. I remember every day of your life. Every time your heart shattered and tried to piece itself together again. Every moment you believed you no longer had strength to continue. And even when you stopped believing in yourself, I still believed in what I placed within you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. Beloved, you are not a fading name that time will eventually erase. You are engraved upon my heart with a love that never changes. No failure can cause me to stop loving you. No darkness is large enough to hide you from my eyes. So today, do not wait for another sign before returning to me. Do not believe you need someone else to confirm your worth before you dare come close again. I called your name before time itself began. I knew every fracture within your soul, and I still chose to love you with all the gentleness of heaven. Come home to me, beloved, not with perfection, but with honesty. You do not need elegant prayers. All I ask is that your heart opens and softly whispers, Lord, here I am. And when you do, you will discover a truth that has never changed throughout this entire journey. My love for you has never been withdrawn, has never faded, and will never end. Within that love, your soul will finally rediscover the home it has been searching for all along.